Good evening everyone, and welcome to the first Gundam news of the new year. It's a bit later than expected, but don't worry, starting next week we'll be back in full force. So first and foremost, I hope you all had a good one, and all of the best wishes for the new year. Also, for the people who have questions about the new jacket that I'm wearing at the moment and the jacket that I'm usually wearing, I will talk about those later on in the video at the timestamp shown on screen right now. So now, a new year means a new month, which also means a new Gunpla schedule. And Bandai is definitely starting the year right, with a lot of cool stuff being released on the 14th. There is the Michaelis for 1,760 yen, 14 US, which has a really nice, sleek design, an interesting opening right arm, and also some beam effect parts. And of course, alongside the Michaelis, we have the Begwer Pente. For also 1,760 yen, 14 US, this thing not only has a really cool color scheme, but also comes with a really nice looking beam rifle, beam effect parts, and of course the big cross-shaped anti-Gundam shield. Combine that with the fact that there were quite a few of them in the anime, the 5 ones that we saw at first, and then now a few more that we saw in the latest episode, and maybe the question shouldn't be if you want to buy the Begwer Pente, but more how many Begwer Pentes do you want to buy? A question that also goes for the Witch from Mercury weapon display base that will retail for 550 yen, 4 US. It is compatible with the remote weaponry of many of the Witch from Mercury units, and one set comes with 2 base plates, 3 short arms, 3 long arms, and adapter pieces, so chances are you're going to run out really quickly, because just the aerial, if you want to display all of the Gund bits, you're going to need 2 display bases, well, 2 sets already. And then for 880 yen, 7 US, there is the flight unit set for the aerial, which also comes with 2 extra open hands. On the 21st then, we get the big hitter for this month, the Master Grade Super Deformed Freedom Gundam for 4,290 yen, 33 US. And while I will admit that this is a really cool thing, and that it also looks amazing for an SD kit, especially with the multicolored parts and the holographic parts, here's the thing with how little master grades we've been getting, like this year and even the past few years, I can't help but have the feeling that this release would have been way better as just a regular master grade. Again, something that we have been sorely lacking, and I also just can't help but feel that this kind of took the place of a regular master grade release. And there are so many cool mobile suits that either haven't gotten a master grade or desperately need an upgraded one. Like, I'm looking at you, Zaku 1 and GPO 1. And then finally on the 28th we're getting the SDW Hero Superior Strike Freedom Dragon for 1,320 yen, 10 US. So it looks like after the very golden Master Grade Extreme Strike Freedom, we're now just getting a straight up, completely golden Strike Freedom. And sticking with Gunpla, I wanted to give a quick clarification on the high-grade full armor Gundam. I've unfortunately gotten so used to reporting on P-Bandais and the fact that multiple rounds of pre-orders means that it is automatically a P-Bandai that I forgot to explicitly mention it. So for the people who got their hopes up thinking that this was a regular release, I'm sorry, it's a P-Bandai ass. To be expected, unfortunately. Next up then, last week I talked about Gundam's collaboration with the Shimane Susanoo Magic basketball team, and this week they unveiled the collaboration item. A Shimane Susanoo Magic colored entry grade Gundam. Well, RX-78-2 Gundam. which also comes with stickers to complete the look. And I really should have been able to guess this. And for anyone who wants to get their hands on this, keep your eyes on these second-hand websites, because at first you will only be able to get this at one of their games. And then, if, and that is a big if, there is still some stock left over, they'll also sell them through mail order, at which point you can probably get them through a proxy buying website. And then one Gunpla related thing that I forgot to talk about last week was the new Witch from Mercury Gunpla, which will go for 1,870 yen, 14 US. It is slated for a March release, and at the time that I was writing the script, it was still known as the Witch from Mercury New Product A, but at this time, we already know that is the upgraded Ariel. And then if figures are more your thing, well then last week I forgot to talk about the FW Gundam Converge Core Gundam 00 Trans Am set. Premium Bandai Limited. Pre-orders went live on the 26th, and the set is slated for a May release, and 6,490 yen, 49 US is getting you a shiny red Kyrios, Exia, Nodley, or Dynamis. As for Witch from Mercury then, dear God, if you don't want to hear any spoilers, skip to the timestamp on screen right now. For anyone who wasn't sure that Witch from Mercury is a Gundam series and not a high school series, well, here you go. This sure was one hell of a way to wrap up the season and get people really hyped for the second season, because man, are there a lot of things that still need wrapping up. We still don't know who or what the Earth Witches are and how they relate to Suletta, other than the fact that there is some kind of connection. Nika's collaboration with Shadiq and the Pirates was found out, which means that it can now probably go one of three ways. Either she kills the dude who found her and she stays undercover, albeit now with a completely different vibe for the viewers. The guy rats her out because, let's face it, if your ship was suddenly attacked by pirates and you found out that one of your fellow students was apparently in on it, you wouldn't really be in a forgiving mood. Or they could go for a cop-out solution where something happens to him that doesn't have anything to do with Nika, allowing her to stay undercover while also not having to make her hands dirty. For example, something like he gets killed by a random piece of debris that flies by, or a random explosion that still happens after the pirates left. Think, for example, how South Burning died in Gundam 0083. And then, of course, we have the big, giant, tomato-colored elephant in the room. Suletta's extremely fast turnaround to killing people, which shows her continued and apparently very effective brainwashing by her mother. She is shocked when her mother kills someone in front of her and keeps smiling, but just because her mother says that it's okay, Suletta immediately just accepts it and rolls with it, which then leads to one of the most shocking ends ever. And now, I have seen a lot of people who say that Suletta didn't have to squash the guy, and that she instead could have tried to grab him, to which I can just say, no. First of all, the soldier had no intention of surrendering, and you can actually see him aiming for Mirine in his last moments, and this is the exact action that Suletta reacts to. First he takes aim, then Suletta jumps into action. And even if she had tried to grab him, how do you think his spine or his internal organs would have reacted to being grabbed by a giant robot hand going 300 kilometers an hour? he would have been dead either way, whether Suletta squished him as she did, or if she had tried to grab him at full speed, because it really was a split-second decision. The only way she could have peacefully solved this is if she had used the Ariel's hand to form like a barrier between Miorine and the soldier, but again, we're talking about split-second decisions here. As for Miorine's reaction, it's important to keep in mind that she first said, "How can you be smiling?" and then called Suletta a murderer. Meaning that she wasn't necessarily calling Suletta a murderer because she killed a dude to save her and her father, which would still be kind of understandable considering the shock that she was in. But instead, it's more because Suletta turned a guy into tomato sauce and doesn't even really seem to acknowledge it, like she's really nonchalant about the whole thing. So Suletta's being less of a knight in shining armor, as she has been throughout most of the series, and more of a deranged psychopath, unfortunately. So I really wonder how Season 2 is going to deal with this, because as with so many things in Witch from Mercury, it can really go either way. This can be the breaking point for Suletta and Miorine, with Suletta being pushed even more under her mother's control, or Suletta and Miorine can work things out, with Miorine getting Suletta actually away from her mother's control. Yes, the situation was extremely bad, but I don't think it's beyond talking things over either. It's not like Suletta crushed Miorine's father in front of her eyes. Talking about fathers, poor Bob. I don't think he's gonna be able to fix his relationship. And then in other news, we got this really nice illustration from Matsuru for Gundam.info's 15th anniversary. And then on the gaming front, the biggest news was that Gundam will be doing a collaboration with the ever-popular Monster Strike mobile game. More details will be unveiled on the 12th, and so far we have gotten these two really cool images of Suletta and the Ariel, and Amuro and his Gundam. In Gundam Battle Operation 2, then, the Hazently joins the fight. Gundam Breaker Mobile got the New Year's login bonus, as well as the Creep Through Step Up parts capsules. The Bombarding Beast event just got started, and the Astray Red Dragon and Mr. Bushido joined the fun. And then finally, the second part of Bamco's digital sale went live on PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, and the Switch, and includes SD Gundam Battle Alliance. As for the things we could get this week, and well, because this episode is a bit late, the week before that, on the 29th we got the absolutely massive metal structure Kaitai Shouki Sazabi, and it really is massive in every single way. The Sazabi itself is already a massive mobile suit by itself, and now it has a massive amount of opening panels to replicate it being serviced. It's got a massive amount of markings all over the place, and it of course has a massive price tag to match. 189,200 yen, or 1,448 US. But for that price, you are getting a massively impressive figure. The only thing that isn't quite as massive are the accessories, but there is an extra set for that for only 29,700 yen, 228 US. So if you needed something to finish off your wallet right before the year ended, that was it. I mean, if you could even still find one, that is. As for this week's reading material then, there was a new model graphics, this time featuring Gunpla from the original Gundam, Zeta Gundam, and Advance of Zeta. And now we get to the absolutely insane amount of Gundam apparel that was released at the end of last year. I have never seen so many different things pop up in one single week ever since I started doing Gundam news. So let's just dive straight in, beginning with Bankore. On the 23rd, we first had 4 types of full color t-shirt from Mercury for 3,850 yen, 29 US, and the available designs are the Daryl Balde, Feroct, Michaelis, and Choo-Choo's Custom Demi Trainer. And for the same price, there were also 8 different monochrome t-shirts featuring different scenes from the anime. There is Suleta, Miorine, Nika, Choo-Choo, Gyul, Elan, Shadiq, and the Ariel. And all of these t-shirts are slated for a February release. Next up then, there was some Universal Century stuff. For 28,600 yen, 217 US, you could pre-order a very floofy jacket with either a Xeon or Char design. And for 27,500 yen, 209 US, you could get a Stadium jumper with either a Char or Mafti design, all of which are slated for a March release. Moving to the 25th then, where we got some more Witch from Mercury things. First up were the 2 weird charms that Suleta found at the campus shop. I don't know how much they were going for in the anime, but in real life they go for 2,200 yen each, 17 US, and they will be coming your way in March. Also, again, with the way things went at the end of this season, I wonder what is going to happen with the hangers, and I wonder if they're going to come back as some kind of, with some kind of symbolic meaning. And if you want to G-Witchify your IC cards, then you could pre-order one of the Pika covers featuring either Suleta, Miorine, Gyul, Elan, Shadiq, the Ariel, the Daryl Balde, and the Feroct or Michaelis. They also go for 2,200 yen each, 17 US, are also slated for a March release, and the cool thing about these covers is that they light up when you use the IC card. One day later then, you could pre-order either a Kira or Atherum Stadium jacket for 26,400 yen, 200 US, a Xi Gundam Penelope or Messer full color t-shirt for 3,850 yen, 29 US, a light Federation or Xeon jacket for 7,700 yen, 58 US, a Federation or Xeon t-shirt for 3,850 yen, 29 US, and a Gundam Char Zaku or mass production Zaku socks for 1,980 yen, 15 US, all of which are slated for a February release. Next up then, on the 27th, we got some really interesting designs. From the Mobile Suit Motif series, we got a Gundam Ariel inspired hoodie for 8,250 yen, 63 US, and a t-shirt for 3,520 yen, 27 US, so you too can pretend to be the Ariel. And you can maybe combine those with the new Gundam or Sazabi themed waterproof backpacks that go for 6,600 yen each, 50 US. Then for 3,850 yen, 29 US, you could get a t-shirt with a reflective print featuring either the Last Shooting, a Versus print, or the Unicorn Gundam. For 3,520 and then 27 US, you could get a t-shirt with either the Federation vehicles, planes, and ships, or Xeon ships and mobile armors. And finally, on that day, pre-orders began for a bunch of Witch from Mercury things featuring the main teaser image. You can get it on a B2 towel for 3,300 yen, 25 US, a tapestry for also 3,300 yen, 25 US, a cleaning cloth for 770 yen, 6 US, or an acrylic charm for 880 yen, 7 US. And all of these items are slated for a February release. And then finally from Bankore, they started the year in the best way possible. A Patrick Colasauer collection, which went up for pre-order on January the 1st. You can get a t-shirt for 3,520 yen, 27 US, a hoodie for 8,250 yen, 63 US, an acrylic stand for 1,320 yen, 10 US, a face towel for 2,420 yen, 18 US, and a mug for 2,530 yen, 19 US. And all of these immortal items are slated for a February release. And while that was everything from Bankore, there is still more to come. From Strict G, we got the Hathaway's Flash and Shark's Counterattack 2022 collection on the 24th, which consists of a t-shirt for 4,730 and 36 US in either Mafty White, Mafty Navy, Xi Gundam Black, Penelope White, New Gundam Navy, or Sazabi Black, a long sleeve t-shirt for 5,830 and 44 US in two types of Mafty Black, Mafty Navy, or Mafty White, a zip-up hoodie for 9,130 and 69 US in Mafty Navy, Xi Gundam Black, New Gundam Navy, or Sazabi Black, a fancy tote bag for 7,480 and 56 US in Mafty Black or Mafty Navy, and a beanie for 4,433 US in either Hathaway Black or Mafty Navy. And on the 26th, they kicked off their winter sale, which lasts until February 28th, both online and offline. And on the 29th, they released a collaboration leather MA1 jacket with Alpha Industries for 107,800 yen, 808 US. Officially, it's called the 10th anniversary model, but as you can tell from the markings, it is mostly a Shark custom model, with also some Strict G 10th anniversary markings as well. Next up then is COSPA, which also brings me to the jacket that I'm currently wearing and the jacket that I'm usually wearing, because both of them are from COSPA. Now, first of all, we have an important distinction to make here, because as you might have noticed, COSPA is actually using a bunch of different names for the different product types that they're selling. So first and foremost, you have the things simply branded as COSPA. And these are apparel pieces that are inspired by the anime. For example, on Friday, pre-orders open for the Earth Federation or Zeon Fleece jacket for 24,750 at a pop, 187 US, which are scheduled for a January release. And then there was also a bunch of which from Mercury stuff scheduled for a March release. 3,190 yen, 24 US, gets you a white or black t-shirt with Suletta and Miorine, a white or black t-shirt with the Ariel, a white t-shirt with the Holder logo, a gray t-shirt with Miorine pointing, or a white t-shirt with Suletta going eh. And that is the F from early on in the series, not the last F that we got to see in the 12th episode. A very important distinction to make at this point in time. So where was I? And then for 1,650 and 13 US, there is a mug with Miorine and Suletta, which you can fill with tomato juice if you so desire. And then on to the jacket that I'm usually wearing, which also falls under the category of COSPA. And here I have some good news, but mostly really bad news for the people who want that jacket. COSPA stuff is really high quality. When I first got that jacket, like many years ago, I constantly wore it. I really tried to wear it as much as I could because I love that jacket. It is super comfortable and it held up. It is still in great condition. Like the stuff that COSPA makes, that it's like actual good quality clothing. It's not just cheap apparel that is made to be worn once and then you start noticing all kinds of things wrong with it. It is built to last and it actually lasts. The unfortunate thing then is that typically they only release COSPA things once, and then once they're sold out, that's it. There's no getting them anymore. Maybe in some rare circumstances they will restock them, or as happened with my jacket, they will get like a renewal, because the jacket I have is the second version of a jacket that existed before it. Now, a year ago or so, I did see the jacket on a website that was still selling it, but for like double the price, so you might still be able to get it, but do not get your hopes up. So unfortunately, the only advice I can give here is keep your eyes open for the COSPA stuff, and if you want it, you really gotta jump on it. But at least the good news here is that it is available through regular websites like Hobbling Japan, and it's not limited to P-Bandai like the Bamco stuff is, or the Strict G stuff, which is only premium Bandai, well, the Strict G part of the pre-Bandai website, and then the Strict G physical stores. Next up then, we have Cospachio, or however you want to pronounce that, which is the high-level cosplay brand of COSPA. Basically, these things are designed to be the exact same things as their anime counterparts, both in style and in quality. Now, I don't currently own any of the Cospachio clothing, but I did wear them during my time at the Gundam Cafe, and I can tell you that just as with the COSPA stuff, you can feel the quality. These things are designed to be worn and worn and worn again. But unfortunately, also just as with the COSPA stuff, as far as I can tell, these get released once, and when they're gone, they're gone. But at least the silver lining here is that because they're such high quality, and because Japanese people tend to take really good care of their stuff, you can find those Cospachio cosplays in good condition secondhand. And from Cospachio then, last week Friday, the Witch from Mercury uniforms went up for pre-order. There is the standard jacket for 38,500 yen, 290 US, standard pants which are only made to order for 16,500 yen, 125 US, Miorine's pants for 14,300 yen, 110 US, the holder jacket for 41,800 yen, 316 US, and the holder pants for 16,500 yen, 125 US. And while this stuff is pretty expensive, again, you are getting what you pay for. Which then brings me to what I'm wearing at the moment. Now, this is from their Trans Trip lineup, which is basically COSPA's budget cosplay lineup, or their Halloween costumes, if you prefer. In short, I am really digging this thing, but with a big asterisk. The whole getup, which consists of the jacket you see, the belt which is right below the camera, the pants and the boot covers, was only around 10,000 yen, which is like around 80 US. So almost 6 times cheaper than the Witch from Mercury cosplays that we just went over. And again, you are getting what you pay for. This material, it just feels much thinner, it feels cheaper, and the finish isn't quite as good. Like when you look close enough, you notice like small things that are wrong, like small details that could have been that little bit better, or just like parts of the uniform where they cut corners where they could. Like there's no actual pockets on this thing, they're just sewn on there. But the important thing is, it does still look good. And another important thing is that this is actually something you can buy. Because as far as I can tell, these trans strip outfits are basically available all year round. And it's not just a Federation cosplay. From Gundam, there is a standard Zeon soldier and also a Char uniform. And then you also have a bunch of other anime, like, of course, there's Attack on Titan, One Punch Man, even Galeon, Dragon Ball Z, etc. So these uniforms, well, these cosplays, they're out there and you can buy them if you come to Japan. But now, the big asterisk with the Federation uniform that I'm wearing is that, well, the lower you go, the worse it gets. The jacket, really good. Again, it does feel a little bit cheaper, but for the price I paid and for for what I want this to be, this is exactly what I would want. The belt, totally fine. Nothing too much I can say about it. It's not great, it's not bad, it does the job perfectly fine. The jogging pants then, well, the pants then, basically they are the cheapest jogging pants I have ever worn, and there is no way I'm going to be using them. They are so thin, my underwear literally shows through them. No, I'm not wearing them at the moment, and they have no pockets. So yeah, that's a no-go in every single way. But they're white pants. You can easily replace them with white pants from the store. As for the boot covers then, they're not as bad as I thought they were going to be, but it's still going to be way better to just wear any other boots, which again, you can just get at the store. I will give them credit though, when you look at the package art, the boot covers are shown as crappy on the package as they are in real life, so there is no false advertisement on the packaging. So really, in short, it is like I said before, they cut corners where they could, and where it really matters, like the jacket and the belt, those things are great. So there is really a high chance that I am going to be wearing this to the next anime convention that I go to. Then continuing on with the rest of the apparel, for the Sunrise Festival, the original goods were unveiled. 3,500 yen, 27 US, gets you a t-shirt, 550 yen, 4 US, a clear file, 3,600 yen, 27 US, an acrylic diorama, and 3,000 yen, 23 US, a tapestry. All of which released yesterday and can also be ordered through the Animate or Movic mail order websites, both of which are linked down below. And then last but not least, on December 23rd, pre-orders opened for 4 types of Witch from Mercury shoulder pen cases. They're slated for a May release, and for 2,970 yen, 22 US, you can either get a holder, Jaturk, pile, or Grassley themed one. But unfortunately, not a generic Asticacia one. And then let's quickly wrap up this video with the poll news. For Christmas, the folks over at Gundam.info wanted to know who would look best in a Santa outfit. And in a surprising turn of events, Bernie won with 47.7% of the votes. And I really don't know what could have happened here, because when I covered this, he was barely in second place, about to go to third place. Like, at the time that I covered it, Chris had twice his amount of votes, yet she somehow only ended up in second place, now with 35.2%. And then rounding up the results, we have Charlie with 9.4% and Hardy with 7.8%. Meaning that the two characters who would actually be best at playing Santa ended up in last place. But things are even crazier with the currently ongoing poll. What was the biggest Gundam related topic of 2022? Now, when I last checked the poll, when I was writing the script, in last place we have the life-size new Gundam with 296 votes so far. Fair enough. With 337 votes then, we have the Cuckoo's the One's Island movie, which is a bit on the low end, but again, fair enough, I guess. But then what really surprised me is in second place, we have Witch from Mercury with 1,115 votes. I really would have thought that this would have been an easy victory for Witch from Mercury because, well, it is the new Gundam anime, which should have been an automatic number 1, but apparently it isn't. Because instead, the 4th and 5th Reconquista in G movies are in first place with 1,427 votes. And also for people who still want to vote, because this video was delayed, the voting should be over by the time this goes live. I think it's already over by the time that I'm recording this, so that was very unexpected. And that has been all for this week's Gundam news. I'm sorry that it's a bit later than normal. As always, a big thank you to the Patreon supporters. I hope everyone watching had a great year and will have a great one to come. And I'll see you all next week with more Gundam news.